Let me share with you why I do the things I do. I once had a session with a lady who's an SVP of Ogilvy, and we were talking about her work, how she's managing the team, and how she was feeling overwhelmed. And I was asking all the right coaching questions, but it seemed to me as if she was doing everything right. She was empowering her team, she was delegating her work, she was maximizing her team's strength, she was maximizing her own workload. There didn't seem to be anything I could help her with. And the more I asked her, the more we talked, the more tired she seemed to be. Her shoulders were slumped, she leaned back in the chair, her eyes were closed, and she just seemed to be losing energy as we talked. And then she said, I don't want to manage people. I don't like managing people. And in my head, I went like, huh? Because here was a lady who's been managing people for the last 30 years of her life. And I thought, you don't like managing people? You don't want to manage people? But of course, I can't say this as a coach. So what I said was, so what would you like to do instead? And she said, I want to do PR. My head, I was like, huh? Because here is a lady who's been doing PR for 40 years of her life. She hates a PR organization. Isn't PR what she do day in and day out? But naturally, I can't say this as a coach. So I said, isn't PR what you're currently doing? What would you like to do instead? And she said, no, she wasn't doing PR. She was managing people. And, she sounded really frustrated. And I thought something else might be there. And so I asked her, is that all you want to do PR? And then she said no. She wanted to do PR for a cause she believed in. She talked about how she helped the young people in her organization, how she was really vested in them. She talked about how she really wanted to do PR for a non-profit organization. And we had quite a lot of discussion at this point in time. And at that moment, this question just came out of me. It wasn't a coaching question. It wasn't, it was just a question that I really wanted to know. Because when I look at her, I thought, she's affluent. She's no burdens that I know of. She's very well known in her field. She could literally walk into any organization and get a job. So I asked her, so what is stopping you from doing all this? And in that moment, she stopped. She looked at me. And I looked into her eyes, and she looked into mine. When I think about human to human connection, this is the moment I think of. In that moment, we were not coach and coachee. We were not client and service provider. In that moment, we were connected human to human. I looked into her eyes, she looked into mine, and it was as if I could look into her soul, she could look into mine. She didn't say anything in that moment, but I knew. In that moment, I knew that she was going to do it. I knew that she was going to do this. And it took her 6 months just to tender her resignation. a year to finally finish the work she had on hand. But at the end of 2 years, she really did become the head of a non-profit organization. Because in my work, this is what brings me meaning. This human to human connection. I want to help my clients to be able to feel like humans again, to be able to be human beings again. And to me, there's nothing better than this human to human connection, to really reach in and to really connect and to find out what makes them feel and be human beings and to bring it out. And at the end of the day, this really is why I do the work I do.